What's up, basement dwellers? Welcome back to the Jersey Fanatics. As you can see, full house tonight, and back from assignment, Tyler Freed.
Hell yeah, brother.
And joining me as always, Erik Barezzo. And I am Chris the Dace Man Dace, and we are, at this point, 8 days away from opening day, where the Phillies go down to Washington, D.C. Zach Wheeler on the mound. How are we feeling?
Opening action with the Tokyo series. If anybody cares about that,
Shit's not real. Comes on at 6 a.m. Nobody gives a fuck. You build a Japanese team and they play in Japan. What did you expect?
Yeah, no one absolutely cares on the East Coast at all.
Well, we can talk about that a little bit. Isn't Freeman and Mookie aren't playing?
Yeah, I wouldn't play either.
I just know that the Dodgers ended up winning today. Cubs took the lead 1-0, and then
it was like
turned
4-1, right?
Anything, and Cubs ended up losing 3-1. I think it was.
Oof.
4-1, I believe.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't even know.
Not that I have sympathy for LA fans, but I wouldn't be getting up at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning to watch this stupid game.
Yeah, you're right. Because I just wouldn't be going to sleep. I'd just be like, "Fuck it, let's just keep going." Especially St. Patty's Day.
That's fair.
Everyone was still going.
I wouldn't catch game 2 though.
I would imagine that like the bars were still open in LA. Like they just didn't close. They just said, "Fuck it, Dodgers are playing." Because we care so much about our team. Because we all know Dodgers fans are fucking fake.
Yeah, so good.
Dripping with sarcasm. But let's talk Phillies. Spring training starting to wind down. Injuries. We got Matt Strahm with a shoulder injury, who he personally thinks he'll be ready for opening day. And then Weston Wilson with the oblique strain. He also feels that he could be ready for opening day. I don't see him actually making opening day. What are your thoughts on Weston and Strami?
I don't think Weston's going to be there. I think they're going to hold back Strahm, but Weston will definitely not be there. The only reason why he's trying to force himself there is because he knows that he's on the outside looking in now. So
I don't believe that. I don't think Weston I feel like he earned a roster spot last year. I mean, obviously he can't sit there and prove it in spring training, but I mean, who's really jumped out there and been like, "Wow, they get that roster spot over Weston Wilson"? I don't. I think Kennedy's been okay. Not really a guy that I would take Weston Wilson over him. Defense, offense, all that he's better at.
Buddy Kennedy, bud, come on, man. He works out with Trout in the off season.
Wow, that's great. So I'm so impressed that he'll be out by like what, the end of April? Is that the regimen that they're on? So right when Weston's coming back,
pretty much.
But yeah, I mean, I think they're just gonna, if he's not fully healthy and he's still like kind of pushing, I think they'll just put him on the IL and then, deal with that roster spot when he comes off the IL, because I don't think he has an option. So it's make or break if he's, you either put him on the major leagues or he's cut.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to prolong that a little longer and see which one of those guys is going to, if they have good at bats, then maybe they do cut them and see what happens.
Well, here's an interesting thought. We've been talking about the last bench space. Pretty much Buddy seems to be having it right now, but I think there might be an additional spot. Do you think Johan Rojas makes the opening day roster? He has not played defense yet, has he?
I think he's been hurt. I think that's what Tyler was saying, that he's been hurt. They said, I think yesterday, that he ended up throwing from center field to second base in order to see how he's feeling with everything. So they're starting to get him in gear, I guess. But he's another one that they could probably.
I think he has options
in order to like slow him in if they really see any other options. Really, I guess.
I mean, I think if they have a good enough outfield option, which I think they might take Mercado or who's the other one?
Arroyo.
They might take one of them going into the season, just to let Rojas get healthy, and then kind of let them prove themselves until Rojas is fully healthy, and then they'll probably bring Rojas up.
Because it was interesting. Last time we talked was 2 weeks ago, and pretty much we had the bench spaces going to Marshawn, Rojas, Cody, and I think we were
Sosa.
floating with Sosa, and then I think we were floating with Buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
looking
realistically, Marshawn's, I would say a lock, just because what's his name has an option.
Stubbs.
And then Sosa, he's a lock. Like I just couldn't see them putting him in the minors or doing anything with him. I mean, Rojas is, I mean, a lock if healthy. He's one of the guys that I think should be on this roster. Who's the other one?
Cody Clemens.
Cody. Yeah. He's like the wild card. I mean, I feel like he should be here, but I don't know.
Also out of options.
They have like a weird relationship with him. I think he has a lot of trade value too, though. Like I think
I don't know where he really fits in here too. Like I feel like he could be an everyday starter, but just not on our team.
Oh, so, for sure.
I don't know where that he truly fits in.
I do think that one of these guys, whether it's Cody, maybe even Weston, it makes it a little harder. But like one of those guys that are out of options that they want to create a space, I'm sure they're going to make a move. It's usually what they do. Kind of like when we traded for Pache a couple years ago, because he was getting cut from the A's just because he didn't make the roster. So I'm sure there'll be something like that. Just little minor league deal, nothing too crazy, but hopefully something good.
Speaking of getting cut, let's get a little shout out to Scott Kingery, R.I.P.
Yeah, that's right. They need to create a roster spot for him. He's coming back.
That's a guy we said on the podcast before he'd be a starter on any other team. And if you're not a starter in LA on the Angels,
yeah, apparently not so much.
Where the fuck are you gonna start, man?
Yeah.
The issue with him is he just doesn't have an identity in where the fuck to play. He's not a second baseman. He's not a shortstop. He's not he doesn't know where he plays anymore. So I don't know if a team knows where to put him.
Yeah, it's. I think we definitely screwed him up with all the positions that we put him at. We should have kept him at one position. Should have went from there. But to go back to your previous question about Strom, I think they're going to take it pretty easy with him just because we really don't have much in the bullpen department. So I think they're going to go pretty slow on him and ease him in just to make sure that he's good for the long haul instead of just a short term.
I do think they have some opportunity. Not that injuries are a good thing, but they have some opportunity to get a longer look at other players. Like, why rush Strom back when you can bring up a bullpen arm and kind of see like how he does in the majors? In a way, in April,
you might as well, especially in April.
The other interesting note, we do it every episode. We shit on Taijuan Walker. It looks like he's going to be the long innings bullpen guy. What are your thoughts on that?
Fucking ridiculous. Just cut the dude. Just get rid of him. Stop. Don't have him on the team. I don't want a fucking a greeter on the goddamn. I guess in the bullpen now. Like, how's he going to stand on the top step if he's in the bullpen?
He's going to be chasing long inning guy. The home runs around and grabbing them, picking up balls.
Fuck that guy, dude. So much. Like, he just cut him. Like, just cut your losses. I'd rather see a young pitcher who is trying to make the team than have some guy who's just fucking it up.
Yeah, I don't understand how you can have full confidence in him no matter what position you have him in, be it short, long, or a starter, like whatever it is. You know that, he could come in and he could potentially give you a great 3 innings, but then the next game that he pitches, 3 innings, or he's going to give up like 6 home runs. So why are you going through all this trouble for one potential start or one potential long relief? Like, I don't get it. He doesn't deserve to be on the team. Just because it's just move on.
I'm kind of hoping that they're just playing the long game here, where they're like, yeah, we're gonna roster him absolutely, and then last day of spring training, just be like, nope, trade it. Like, trade it to the fucking Expos for their fucking old logo on a hat or some shit. I don't know. Just send them anywhere. Send them to the fucking Savannah Bananas because
they keep on talking about him like how he's so damn good, and that he's throwing so fast, and it's like 93 miles an hour, and
well,
there's
93 is
break
fast
on
compared
his,
to 89.
yeah, but there's like no break on any of his pitches, like, and then like Chris Sanchez comes out the next day and he's throwing 99 miles an hour, and like they're still talking about Taijuan Walker, trying to say, hey,
maybe
he ticked up 5 miles an hour.
I mean, maybe he is a good setup man for fucking Alvarado, because you're gonna have him throwing 90 fucking 293, and then Alvarado comes in smoking 102. I mean, maybe that is a good idea. But I feel like we can get like Jamie Moyer out of fucking retirement to do
that. I think the Phillies are running with a common theme in America right now, where you just can't admit you're wrong. So you just double down and keep fucking shoving it down your throat until you just accept it.
It's so ridiculous. Like Dombrowski just needs to own this and just be like, I fucked up, and just cut him. Just get rid of him.
You get us a World Series, it's okay.
Now that we're kind of on the bullpen topic, Romano has looked mighty good in his spring appearances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, him and Alvarado look pretty damn good so far.
Well, there's like 6 innings or something like that, scoreless with like 6 or 7 Ks. Like he's looked really good.
Yeah,
and it's been quiet good too. Like he just be like sneaking into them spring training games, just doing his thing, and then just dipping out, which I like to see.
Like nobody's talking about him at all. Like nobody's mentioning him on any broadcast. Like they're like, oh, there's Jordan coming in. Anyway, let's talk about Taijuan Walker again.
Did you know the Phillies have a new dessert out in left field? That's going to be fantastic. Jordan Romano strikes out the side. But let's talk about the quesadilla with Nutella.
Yeah, he's in the immaculate inning. Who cares? Let's talk about that.
So is there anyone in spring training you're concerned about that is going to most likely make the roster and isn't looking too hot? Who?
Taijuan Walker.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's set that special case aside. That's like comparing Batmans and like, well, Adam West. No shit. Now let's talk about the rest of them and which ones sticking out.
I mean,
there's really nobody for me.
I don't feel like anyone stood out in like, oh, they suck sense. I mean, it's hard for pitching because, like in spring training, you are just going to give up shitty games. Like I'm sure Zach Wheeler's ERA in spring training is fucking terrible right now because of his one shit game against the Yankees. I haven't really noticed anyone too bad. I feel like it's just been more people that have been like, okay, like I see their potential. Like I feel like Stott's had a quiet spring, but like in a good way. Like he hasn't been doing it. Like he looks like he's doing the right things again.
Yeah, he's been looking better. They've had a lot of stories ran about him too, about how he's changed all of his approaches and all sorts of stuff. So they've been talking about him left and right. But I think Bryce Harper has actually looked really good in the games that he's played too. So he's not smashing, but he's getting hits.
That's what I was going to ask. Does it concern you that he hasn't hit a home run yet?
He's hit a home run, but
did he? Trey did. So. Trey just got his first one over the weekend. I didn't think Bryce had one yet.
Me personally, spring training does not concern me at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather them
I thought he had one, but I could be wrong.
Because to me, I feel like if I were in spring training, I'd be focusing on just getting my contact, getting my timing. Like I'm not worried about crushing the ball. So yeah, like I wouldn't worry about him not hitting too many home runs. He'll probably come out opening day in Citizens Bank and fucking crush 3.
There you go. So a couple more topics I want to talk about before we kind of leave the spring training conversation. 2 players that are obviously on a contract. Well, 3, but 2 position players I want to talk about that are on a contract.
He has not hit a home run yet.
Yeah, I didn't think he did because there's another story I'm going to bring up later on in the show that I want to talk about. But there's 2 position players that are on a contract year, and conversations that have been happening keep leaning towards Schwarber extension over JT. What are your thoughts on that? Like we've talked about it at length that we think JT, the catcher position, is a little bit more important than the DH position when it comes to an extension potentially. But it seems like Schwarber, at least, he's getting the most talk.
So me personally, I think Now, if you're going to extend both guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would be more inclined to pay Schwarber sooner than later than JT. I think JT, like, I don't think there's going to be a catcher that's resetting the market.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no one, but like, Schwarber goes out there and banks another, 40, 100, and 40 and 100 with a decent average. Like, he's got rights to go get paid for like a 200 million from somebody. So yeah, I would want to extend him sooner than later. That's if that's what the game plan is, to extend both of them. Obviously, if we have to pick one, I'm going to pick JT just because you don't see. I mean, maybe they're seeing something in Marchand that they think that he's the guy, like he can be the guy in the next couple of years. But I even think JT is. I saw an interview early in spring that JT said that like he thinks that an extension would get done sooner than later.
Mm-hmm. Erik, your thoughts on the extensions?
I think JT is a smarter move to make just because, like what we've talked about before, that there's nothing really out there free agency wise. I don't see a trade happening either that somebody is willing to give up a younger star catcher like the Marlins did. I think they kind of
there is actually one that I think could be on the market.
the Orioles because they have two studs.
Yeah, I think Rushman's got to he's got to stay on his shit, or else the younger kid's gonna come up to take his spot.
Yeah, that kid's supposed to be absolutely amazing and 10 times what.
But I mean, hey, if they want to trade the younger kid to us, that's fine too.
Yeah, 100%. But I think JT is the smarter option, just because like we just said, with the catcher prospects not really being available, also with you having more familiarity with the pitchers that are on here. Like I know his knees are pretty bad, and he just turned 34 today, I believe it was. This is his birthday, so happy birthday. But yeah, I think he's the most important one to do. I know Kyle Schwarber's hitting the 40 and the 100 RBIs, and that's really hard to come by. But I think that part is a little easier than finding a catcher that is able to be as good as.
I mean, I don't know if you could say it's that easy to find a guy that's just going to go hit 40 and 100. Like
I said, it's easier compared to.
Look at Bryce's numbers. Like, how many seasons has Bryce had at those numbers? Like, you think of all the great years that he's had, he doesn't normally go 40 and 100.
Yeah.
Like it's like 30 something. And I'm not saying that necessarily Schwarber's going to do that year, for the next couple of years. But I don't want to discredit what he does for this team, because I feel like that's a bit large part.
Oh, yeah, I think he's very important, but I just think JT's more important.
And if you think about postseason, the past couple postseasons, who's been the more consistent hitter? I think that also kind of plays an effect here, because I feel like Schwarber has been more consistently helping the team than JT has that late in the year. Granted, they play different positions. Schwarber should be, because he's more fresh being a DH, but still, you got to be more consistent there if you're JT.
How do you feel about a multi-year deal for DHs? Because it does seem common across the league that DHs are getting like a 1-year deal, or like they're basically doing it year by year on the DH.
I mean, I'm not going, I don't want to see like a 4 or 5 year deal. If you do 2 with a 3rd year option, I wouldn't be mad about that. Even if you did 2 with so Schwarber can kind of go year by year if he wants to. I'm cool with player options. Like if he wants to go year by year and then have the mutual option, or however they want to play that, that's fine. Because that does, he can reset his price and make it a little bit higher year by year. I really don't care how much he gets paid, because there's no salary cap, so I don't really give a fuck. Make Middleton pay all the money.
I just thought it was interesting because you look at some of the teams that are like constantly making it to the playoffs. Their DHs don't have long contract, and they're trading them out almost every year just by looking.
But that's the other thing too. Like, how long of a contract do you really want with JT? And
I would like
I think
3.
I think that's the holdup there because he probably wants longer because he wants more security because he knows where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
And the Phillies are probably like, well, we can maybe give you 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, realistically would be smart because that gives us 2 to 3 years to either draft or, go trade for his replacement somewhere in the minor leagues.
Mm-hmm. I think the most I would give him is 4 because I think we've talked about the prospect that's out there in our system that would probably be ready in about 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
And I mean, realistically too, you have to look at the general construct of the team, and be like, okay, well, obviously Bryce, Trey, like they're here for the next what? I mean, I don't remember where Bryce
Into
is
the
at,
30s. So like their
yeah.
2030s is when their stuff
So,
expires.
so all right, let's say 5 years. So we're locked into them for the next 5 years. Everyone else is kind of up in the air. Obviously, the young kids. We have other younger stars coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So like you do need the mixture of young and older. I just don't know if you want that catcher necessarily. Like I think because like JT is weird because like we've always been like, okay, well, like catcher's not generally an offensive, position, but at the same time when you have that, you want to keep that. But if he's getting too old and can't do both, it kind of then where does JT go? Kind of deal.
I do think it was interesting. The spring training started, and they were going to put him out in the outfield to try out. I don't think he's been out there yet, has he?
He's not going out there.
I wouldn't either. Like, fuck, you want me to squat and then go out and run? Fuck that.
I think the only thing that they really played with was Sosa. I think was in the outfield for 1 game, and I think Schwarber was at first base for 1 game.
Sosa's been in the outfield kind of consistently. He's played out there a couple times.
Well, I know Thompson said either today or yesterday that Kepler and Marsh were going to play close to every day. So who knows how real his words are, but
so if Thompson's saying that, that leads me to believe that Rojas isn't going to be in the majors to start the season.
Going with
because you're not going to have a player like that be sitting around doing nothing if you're planning to play those 2 every day.
Yeah, it makes sense, especially since he hasn't played field at all in spring training. We're a week away from opening day, and he has yet to take the outfield. So
yeah,
like you said at the beginning, is that they're taking their time with it to make sure that he's fully healthy and able to actually help us.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna if we see Rojas, I don't think we see him until mid to late May. Just because I think they're gonna give Marsh and Kepler their time to be like, we're either okay against lefties or we're talking suck against lefties, and then we have to go figure something else out.
Yeah.
But I personally think, and I know I'm going to just jump to this topic because let's listen to the podcast, and I know Erik was wondering why I'm so high on Kepler. So I have a fun stat for you. So Kepler, over his last 162 games played, has better stats all across the board than Aaron Judge does in his last 162 games played. The issue with that is Kepler is injury prone, so that stat line is kind of cut up over, I think, 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But that shows you the potential that he honestly has there. You can see that
if you watch the games, you can definitely see that how good of a player he is. And once when I actually watched him, I saw where you're coming from and having the belief in him, but you just have to hope that he's able to stay uninjured.
Which makes sense.
I mean
that's the case with everybody if you think about
it.
So with that being said, spring training, as we're wrapping up the conversations, next week we'll be talking about the last week and prepping for an opening day down in DC. But who do you think's that 4th bench position? Or who do you think the bench positions are? We'll do that. Erik, I'll let you go first.
I think it's Marchand, Sosa, Cody, and Sosa. Did I already say Sosa? I already
Mhm.
said Sosa. Cody, Marshawn, Sosa, Buddy.
Tyler?
I honestly believe, I don't know why. I don't want him to, but I think Cody gets traded. Just because I think he has the most value. And like realistically, like where are you gonna play him? You're gonna play him at second? Like if you're getting him a day to start a week, you're gonna play him at first. But I know that's where he's primarily been trying. I just don't think unless there's something going on with Bryce that he's gonna be sitting all that often. Um, and I know there's other options at that. I just don't think he's as versatile because you have Sosa who could play second. Sosa now can play the outfield.
He's played third.
So, yeah, I mean Sosa plays infield just all in general. So Sosa's a lock. I feel like Marchand just because of the stuff is option. I do like Kennedy. I think he shows like he's the type of person that like if you want to pinch hit him and he can come in and have the potential pop. So I think he's going to get the first shot at it, but I do think if he struggles, then they're going to bring Weston Wilson in. Those two are going to be the ones that kind of flip flop because they sort of play the same positions. I don't remember where Kennedy fully plays. He's like a second baseman too, right?
Yeah, they've been trying him in the outfield too.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's been in the outfield too.
And then the last one, I think, because Rojas isn't around, I'm gonna go Mercado just because I've seen him more in spring. I don't know what his stats are. I really don't know what these guys' stats are all spring. But I just think he shows a lot of potential with his speed and everything. Defensively, he looked pretty good too.
I'd probably go. Well, Sosa and Marchand, I think, are locks because of the stub situation, and Sosa's just so versatile. I don't think they get a Cody deal done, so I'm going to say Cody comes up. Sucks if I'm wrong and he does get traded because I do like Cody. And then I'm going to go with Arroyo. I think they give him a shot.
Oh, okay.
I just like with the I don't know. I just think with the Cody situation, it's just it'd be easy if you had options, obviously, because he is a player that you want on your roster. It's just I don't see a spot for him. I don't see where because he's a player that you need to give him consistent at bats. So it's not like he's a late defensive person because he's not going to substitute for Stott. He's not like Rojas. That's how he gets his roster spot because he's just very least he could come in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, go play center field and lock that shit down. He's not that. I mean, he's good defensively, but he's not going to come in and take Bryce's innings. So I just don't see a spot for him.
Has he tried outfield in spring training?
He's tried outfield a couple times. They've had him play outfield. I don't know if they've had him play it in spring training, but I know he's played outfield for the Phillies before.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been this spring training or not, but he's definitely been out there before. Everyone's been out in the field.
If Cody does get traded, what do you think we get? Pitchers?
If I know. It's someone minor league that they see potential in. It could be. I mean, realistically, I would look at bullpen. If there's a fringe bullpen guy of another team that has options, someone like that.
All right. So moving into other conversations, there was an article that came out, and I think it's on thephillies.com, of how Citizens Bank Park has changed over the years and the wind factor. I thought it was interesting that I don't know, baseball nerds love to track these stats, but Bryce Harper was robbed of 6 home runs last year because of wind. What do you guys think about that? Obviously, it hurts the batters, but helps someone like Aaron Nola who hates the fourth inning.
I saw that article, but I didn't read it. But that's pretty crazy that 6 home runs were robbed from him.
I think he had 6. I think Schwarber Schwarber and Bohm might have lost 4, and then everybody else lost maybe 2.
Oh wow! That's pretty significant, especially if it's not solo shots.
And
So
I think it's all in that damn corner, the Montgomery corner area. I think it was.
I was gonna say, like, so it sounds like it's lefties mainly getting robbed. So it's people going to like right field area. I mean, I don't know what would contribute to that because it's not like a lot of construction's going on behind the stadium or anything. Like, it's not like they've gotten rid of anything.
The only thing I could
to
think
like
of,
open a wind tunnel.
the only thing I could think of, and again, I don't see how it would have hurt, but they have been leveling a lot of warehouses around the area, and they did the whole big screen update. Again, I don't see how that would factor so much, but they said there was like a distinct drop off with this kind of era of Phillies versus like the 08, if I remember correctly from the article.
I mean, global warming or some shit, probably.
Worse weather during this. I mean, we have tornado warnings now in New Jersey. That didn't happen around the 08 years.
I mean, that's an intriguing thing to think about. I mean, it does seem super fucking windy in that stadium, a lot more than it has in, I guess older years. It's not something I really thought about, but I mean, kind of sucks. I hope it's, helping the pitchers out. Like, I hope it saved home runs too.
I think Aaron Nola. I think Aaron Nola got 5 saved. And
that makes sense. Did they give any reason as to why? Like,
it's something to do with center left, and then just the way, the way they were measuring it is that basically, if there wasn't like a certain wind factor that day, it would have been out of the park. But they didn't really point to any any one thing that's causing it.
It could be that big ass screen because it's taking up more area than what.
Oh, you know what? It totally could, because it could be distorting the way the wind kicks through it, because it used to be like where they have still the logos and stuff, like the sponsors, that used to be just billboards worth of sponsors. So the wind probably kicked off that a little bit differently. Now it just pushes straight off the probably back of the billboard and kicks under it and just like pushes away from it. Maybe. I'm not a weather person, so
I think it's because of the patches on the jerseys. If you got rid of the patches on the jerseys, it'd be fine.
Throwing off the weight a little bit.
Yeah.
You're one of those fucking guys. It's like, oh, you can't have fucking a silly little patch on my fucking jersey.
I hate patches on the jersey.
Bro, what does your Little League team have? They have sponsors on their jerseys, right?
Yeah, this isn't Little League, though.
I mean, it might as well be.
They're out there rubbing their belly and patting their heads in spring training, so.
You got dumbasses like you in the stands bitching about fucking patches, so.
So the last topic I want to bring up on our episode this week, lineup. We talked about it last time we met. We've talked about it throughout the off season. If you weren't going to change the meal, you got to at least rearrange the plate to make it look different. What do you think the opening day lineup's going to be? Are we going to see Schwarber back at the top, or is he going to actually get dropped?
Are we talking opening day or like the home opener?
Let's say opening day, because I imagine if they don't put him at leadoff and it doesn't work, he'll be back at leadoff in Philly.
I just feel like Rob Thompson is going to be the biggest asshole about it. Like, I do think his plan is to change it, but I do think he's going to start the season with the fucking same bullshit. Kyle Schwarber at leadoff, just to piss everyone off and be like, I'll do what the fuck I want, specifically against the Nationals.
It seems like it's been that way, like, because there's been a few games that he hasn't been at leadoff during spring training, but there's been, I don't know, more. Maybe it's just because I'm paying attention to it more when he is actually at leadoff. So, like today, but almost everyone, or he wasn't in today. He didn't play.
But I do notice he's in the 4-hole when it's not the whole roster. But if it's the whole roster, sans Castellanos for whatever reason, like I don't know how he got out of sync, he's leadoff. So like you're looking at like a yesterday's roster, for example, or Monday's roster, for example. He led off. Everybody was in the lineup that probably would have been there opening day, except for Castellanos, and he's not going to really determine where Schwarber bats anyway. Why was he lead off?
I mean, I've seen they've done a couple full roster lineups where Schwarber was in the 4-hole. I know I've seen at least 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know he's kind of fucking with the lineup over the next week or so. Ultimately, I think the long-term lineup is going to be Trey. I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel about Bryce being in the 2-hole.
It's weird.
I get it in the fact of like you want to give him as many at bats as possible, but I don't know, man.
I don't
think,
like that comment, and we talked about it 2 weeks ago when we last met. Is that Trey steals less when he's in front of Bryce? Like as if like Bryce doesn't want that base open. It was an MLB pundit that made the comment, so like take that with a grain of salt. But the fact that statistically Trey is stealing less with Bryce right behind him.
Yeah, but the issue is Trey is stealing less because Schwarber is also in front of him. So like,
good point.
Like, I mean, there has to be like more specific stats to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I do think you got to break that up a little bit though. Like, I do think, like, if I were constructing a lineup, I would want fucking fast, great contact hitter, could do everything hitter, and then your fucking slugger. Like, so I mean, not that he would ever do it, but like a situation of like, Turner, and then Stott, but you're not going to put, three lefties in a row with Stott, Harper, and Schwarber. The 2-hole's the tricky one because I don't necessarily like Bryce there, but I think that's where he's going to end up. And then it'd just be Bryce, I think Bohm, Schwarber, and then insert basically everyone after that. It's however he's fucking feeling. Probably Cassidy, JT,
Kepler, Marsh.
But probably mixing that up at least a little bit. I think Stott will probably find his way up the lineup just a little bit to break up the lefties, where JT or Cassidy will get dropped a little bit just to kind of switch that up.
Yeah.
Erik, what do you think the opening day is going to be?
Basically the same thing. It's
Kepler for Rojas and just call it a day.
Yeah. There's really no difference that I see him. I think he's going to start out with Turner as your leadoff, but then he's going to get either annoyed that our offense is silent or just something is going to just like, you know what, I'm going back to Schwarber at my leadoff, and then all of a sudden all shit is going to hit the fan. So it's going to turn, I don't want to say pretty fast, but it's going to be like a couple weeks.
I mean, listen, I think what we should do, right? We do this lineup with Turner leadoff and whatever other bullshit you want to throw until like June, because then you get your fucking little hot streak out of Schwarber for the next month and a half, and then once he cools off, then you switch it back. Let him be the leadoff hitter while he's fucking just smashing balls. I don't care. I do think that it does mean something when you have Kyle Schwarber fucking smash a ball in the first at bat of the game before they even get to broadcast, because good old MDC Philly does not know how to start a game right sometimes. I think it was against the fucking Braves last year. Schwarber was just like, I'm like turning on the TV and he's already rounding, like it comes from commercial and he's already rounding the bases because he fucking mashed it that quickly.
Yep.
I'll never like him in leadoff because you're not the 10 times he does that.
See, I don't.
162 games, he does it 10 times.
Well, he did it like 14 last year. All right, he holds the record for it.
14. If he did it 40 times, all right. But
I mean, he hit the home run 40 times because he was in a leadoff spot. Because he got that many at bats.
Well, he probably wasn't leadoff at that point.
I think it would be more beneficial.
From the inning.
I think it would be more beneficial for Schwarber to lead off if you had somebody that could actually get on base in your 7, 8, and 9 hitters.
But we normally do.
I think because we didn't have that, I think that was the issue. So it's if we had that, I think it's better to turn it over that way and sort of keep the lineup what you had last year, unless Turner is feeling his old self again in order to get back to where he used to be able to get the 30 plus stolen bases and then the 15 plus home runs and be able to hit all over the field.
We need to move Turner. Like, I mean, if batting him lead off to get him stealing and running more is what we need to do. I don't know what it is, but like, I'd rather him get fucking gunned out a couple times trying to steal the bag than them just not trying to steal the bag.
Yeah.
Dude is too quick for him to not be, 30 plus a season easily.
Yeah.
He's only getting older.
Stott led the team last year?
I think so.
It wasn't much at all. Stolen bases were really down.
Well, also last year Trey had the quad injury, and then he didn't really run the same.
Yeah, he had. I mean, he definitely had an off running season last year.
Mm-hmm.
It surprises me with how quick some of these guys are that like they don't steal more. Like Rojas, motherfucker's stupid as shit on the bases.
Yeah,
he's always getting picked off at first.
Yeah, constantly.
I mean, Stott does his thing. I feel like he steals adequately. Like, he's aggressive and all that. Marsh is the one that's like, I think he thinks he's faster than he actually is. But like, also like I don't understand it because like he thinks he's faster than he actually is. But in the same sense, like he's also, I think, running slow. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to word it right because I just feel like he's also like running slower than perceived, like, or faster than perceived. Like, I feel like he is faster than everyone thinks he is, but like
it's the hair.
Maybe it's the other way. Like, he thinks he's slower, but he's actually faster.
It's the hair. The hair just throws you off because the hair's like behind him as his body's going forward. Let's talk about how the guy with the longest fucking legs can't get the first.
I mean, listen, there's just some people that are just born to be fucking slow. And Alec Bohm, I don't understand that, man. Like, Maddie could probably beat him the fucking first.
I don't get it. And I think if he didn't have the attitude problem, because clearly he has an attitude problem, I blame it on that. Like, if you want to talk about a guy who's not hustling it out, it's Bohm. Like, hands down. He hits it.
But he is, though. That's the worst thing. Like, he is hustling. Like, there's just guys that are just built slow, bro. And he is just slow as fuck.
He's cursing up a storm like 2 steps out of the box. Like, he's pissed by the time. He doesn't even make it past the mound.
I think Bohm is going to be our biggest surprise this year.
Well, yeah, he's getting laid. That bitch breaks up with him, though. Yeah, because that Aaron Dolan. Is it Aaron Dolan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still with her?
Yeah, his hair's longer. He was smiling walking down to spring training with her. Marshy doesn't seem too mad at him.
The problem is that he was getting laid?
No, the problem is he had a bad breakup with Marsh.
Yeah. Him and Marsh weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
But no, I just think that I think my boy Boom is gonna have a big year this year. Like, I think he may get at least little MVP talk.
Oh, I think he'll have a good year. I think he'll get outshadowed by a couple. Like, I think Bryson's going to have a really good year. I think Marsh is going to have a good year. Hopefully our stars do too.
I mean, I'm all in on. I feel like we talked about it, but I'm all in on Bryce this year.
Harper,
my man's yeah, dude. My boy is going off this year. Like, I think it's been a couple years since his MVP. I think he's ready for another one. He's about to shut Shohei fucking Ohtani's ass up.
Good.
And he's about to light it up this year. I think. Did I say it on the podcast? I don't know if it was in the chat or on the podcast. But I really feel like Bryce pushes 50 home runs this year. Like, I think he goes hard.
I think Casty goes hard.
Yeah, that's super. That's
Casty. I just want him to be consistent. Just consistency.
That's World Series bound if he's pushing 50 and Bryson Stott and Marsh and JT and all of them are having great years. Like that's World Series bound again.
Dude, daycare's going to middle school this year. They're stepping it the fuck up.
Oh, I saw something on Facebook that I don't think we talked about. All right. So if you had one wish for your team, and it can't be for your team to win the World Series, what would that wish be?
Get to the
Anything could happen to the Phillies this year, but it can't be that they win the World Series.
Get to the World Series.
I mean,
they
that's
find
just
Cliff
the easy
Lee.
cop out.
Front office finds Cliff Lee and invites him back to the stadium, and Cliff says yes.
Okay. See, mine was
Zach Wheeler to win the Cy Young.
All right. See, that's where I was going. I was going with Bryce getting the home run record.
I think mine's the most realistic. We need
honestly, the front office finding Cliff Lee, bro. He don't want to be found.
I want
here. They ain't gonna find him.
Phillies merch that has a milk carton and Cliff Lee's face. Have you seen this man? Because we haven't.
Hey, that's copyright on some of my merch, all right?
Well, that's fair. But okay. Does this man owe you money? Contact us now.
That's still kind of copying, man. That man does owe me money.
But yeah, if the Phillies could find Cliff Lee, I'd like to put. Oh, that's what we could talk about. Jimmy Rollins and Ed Wade have been announced for the Wall of Fame over the past week. So how do we feel about J-Ro going there? We did a spotlight episode on him. Found out that he played a hell of a lot longer than I knew. We didn't talk about his dick. We talked about Cole Hamels' dick, who's going to be doing commentary. So
I guess I got to catch up on these spotlight episodes.
I went and watched the Cole Hamels one. It's a lot of dick talk.
I'm excited about it. I love J-Roll. Obviously, my number is 11. That he's a big influence on why. Just he was always my favorite Philly growing up. I mean, between him and Chase, but I just love the way he played the game. So I'm happy that he's finally getting it. And I'm not surprised that he's the first. No, Chooch is on the wall, right?
I don't think Chooch is.
I thought they put Chooch. Oh, maybe. Oh, he was there for Roy Halladay. Never mind.
I was going to say, technically, Halladay is from that era, but he had to go and die to get that. So
I was going to say, it's cool that out of the 08 team,
Charlie's there.
I'm pretty sure he's the first one to go up there.
Player-wise, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's cool to see because he definitely deserves it because he was the catalyst behind all of it.
Do you think all the 08 people make it onto that wall?
I
have two names that I don't think will.
I think him, Chase, Ryan, Cole,
and Chooch.
I think Lidge makes it. I think they give Lidge the spot. Chooch would probably make it.
Brett Myers?
Nah, I don't think.
Oh, come on. He could do a concert afterwards and tell Cole Hamels to go fuck himself again.
Yeah. I don't know if Brett makes it, but that'd be cool. I wouldn't say
that'd be great
no to it.
if Cole had to commentate that weekend for him. Like, hey, Brett's here.
Who are your two that you don't think will make it?
Jason Worth, because he spent most of the rest of his career down in the Nationals, even though I loved him. And then the third baseman, Phillies, who nobody remembers.
Peter Hackey? I always remember him. That's my favorite guy.
Yeah, nobody remembers Pedro.
Peter Happy, dude. Say his fucking name right.
I do think we got a couple 09ers that get on there.
Actually, okay. What about Pat Burrell? Do you think he makes it?
He's already. He might already be on there.
I don't think he made ball.
I think Pat Burrell made it because they did that whole thing about him coming back and fucking people's wives.
Yeah,
I think they honored him, but I didn't think he got the Wall of Fame.
I don't count him as an 08 guy. He went up on 2015.
Oh, well, technically, I guess he's the number 1 08 guy.
Yeah, but he's like a Giants dude now, so fuck him.
I mean, okay.
Oh, he's the front office guy over there. He leaned into
Everyone
the whole
else
Giants.
Is fucking every other female in Philly fucked him at some point.
Well, now he's giving AIDS to the Bay Area.
And his dog.
After Gabe Kapler.
After Gabe. Weren't they there at the same time?
I think so, yeah.
No?
No, it's a
I
double.
mean, he might be. I don't know. He's their hitting coach now.
I was going to say, I think he was in the front office. Like, I know
he's kind of wild. I can't think of Pat Burrell being a fucking hitting coach because all he did was fucking just sling the fucking bat around and hope that he hit it. And if he did, he did good.
He's giving lessons on crushing ass.
It's like having Casty as your hitting coach.
Just go out there and go with your feel, man.
Can we just tell Castellanos? I've seen 5 at bats out of his spring training, and all 5 he chased a fucking slider down and away.
I haven't seen him play.
I'm like, dude, just like, I don't understand. Like, it's coming. It's good. If anything's even remotely there, why the fuck are you swinging at?
I don't know why he keeps playing with the Iron Pigs. Like, if the rest of the team's playing and he's off at Epcot and then shows up and play with the Iron Pigs the next day. Was he part of the Breakout Stars game?
Maybe he's going to get traded.
The way he's fucking treating spring training, I don't see how they get anything for him. Dude's been in Disney.
His name alone could get you at least 2 prospects.
This is a weird reversal of conversation.
Yeah, you were giving Schwarber props earlier.
I got really excited with he batted in the 4-hole and he got 3 RBIs.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was supposed to be. I was talking to a guy I work with who he played a little bit of college ball, and I was like, it is so frustrating that we never got.
All play. Sorry, no, I'm sorry.
I was like, it's so frustrating that we never got the 2022 vision of what this team should be. Like, if you think about it, because Bryce went down, Casty was never supposed to be in right. Like him and it was, we've never gotten what was supposed to be on paper, but that team went to the World Series. It's so weird to me, or surreal, that should have been a bye week when it came to seasons.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, I was just talking shit on your buddy who played ball in college. I'm sure anyone who played ball in college always knows about fucking baseball. Fucking rad, dude.
I think he was a pitcher or something.
Yeah, they're always pitchers, dude. Then what? He blew his shoulder out.
He said he needed to put 10 more miles per hour on his ball, and he wouldn't have been working with me. I was like, okay.
Yeah, because he blew his fucking shoulder out. Yeah, that's what it was. Fucking Tommy John in the 7th grade.
He got to play on the Astros field. I get to boo the Astros, so we're kind of the same. He was asking me a question about what the hell was it? Trout, because he's from the area, and technically he was a freshman when I was a senior. Him being down in Vineland and stuff, and I was like, he's like, oh, did you hear all about him, or did you play? Because he knows I play softball, which is a stretch. And I was like, when Trout was doing his thing, he was a freshman as well as I was in theater. So that's the type of lifestyle I lived. Also, he hates the Eagles. So
I had no idea.
I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was even when he was somebody. I don't see him play.
I heard about him because he was
the class after Bryce, or the draft class after Bryce.
Yeah, he what?
2010?
Came up in 10. I'd say. Yeah, so what? I was in high school about there.
He's the same age as my brother, so he would have been an 09er.
Like his graduating class would have been 09?
Yeah. Because he was a freshman when I was a senior.
I always heard a little bit about him when I got to high school, just because this dude fucking lit it up for the past 4 years for Millville, but I didn't really know his name or anything like that.
And now he plays a part-time schedule. He's like the Rock for baseball.
Yeah. Fucking John Cena.
That could be a whole other podcast.
He's about to have that major heel turn.
It could have been major. That's a different podcast. We don't need to talk about John Cena on this.
Let's start a wrestling podcast. Let's go.
I will spend a good hour on how I hated his promo. It was awful.
Fucking whiny little bitch. Cody Rhodes had it right.
He had.
All right, let's end this.
Let's end this show. Erik, what do you got going on?
Nothing.
Tyler, what do you got going on?
I got opening day for softball coming up. That should be pretty fun. You do too. Unlike Erik over here, fucking too good to play softball with us anymore.
Retired with coaching.
Retarded.
Fucking retired.
Retarded. BasementProtocolProductions.com, Facebook.com/Basement Protocol Productions, and the Dace-tacular Gaming for a Cause 11 is coming up April 25th to the 27th. These guys will be there in some form, capacity, online. Right. So that's coming. This drops every Wednesday. Weekly Protocol drops every Thursday. And I'll keep promising a Dace-tacular mind. But every time I record it, I'm just so angry. And I'm like, this is going to get people to hate me. So I don't do it. I just delete it.
That's why I don't record things about my thoughts either.
They've been so dark lately. God damn America. Anyway, that's going to do it for us this week on the Jersey Fanatics. I've been Chris the Dace Man Dace. He's been Tyler Freed.
Hey, yo.
He's been Erik Perezzo.
Bye-bye.
And remember, basement dwellers, stick to the protocol. Somebody ring that damn bell.
Ring, ding, 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 ding. Hey, you shut the fuck up. Ring a ding, ding.
See you guys next week.